everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Thriving with Rachael and Dr. Lou. I know last week we left off talking a little bit about kickstarting your day, but then we kind of ended on having accountability, and I know you left off saying that you were planning on going back to the gym, so I'm kind of curious how the accountability has been going with other people keeping you accountable. Like, do you find that to be more helpful?
Totally
I want to talk
more helpful.
a little more about self-accountability today, but I want to check in on that.
Well, it's definitely more helpful to know that your friends are waiting for you, right? Mm-hmm. And to know that, part of me was thinking, planning Tuesday night to get back into the gym. I was looking at whether or not, am I going to get up okay? How am I going to, because this is earlier than I'm used to getting up. But then I started thinking, well, wait a minute, I loved going to the gym. We always had a great time when we were working out together. It felt great. I always loved having that be a kickstart to my day. Like, it really energized me and prepared me. It made me feel strong physically, but then also mentally, like, okay, I can handle whatever my day brings. So that came back quickly. And so that was, not only did I have the friends to help keep me accountable, but the feeling, returned pretty quickly. And that was reinforcing. Now, I was sore because, working at home, not quite the same as going to the gym and working out with your friends. So there was a lot of reinforcement from my friends, as well as the emotional feeling of feeling good. So I don't know, how do you help yourself stay accountable with whatever your routine is to get kicked off or other things?
I think it's, I'm very rigid with something existing. Like, if we're talking about the morning routine still, something has to exist. Like, I in my mind, I'm rigid about you have to get up and you have to do some type of movement. But I've, over the years, and especially over the last month, have been more flexible with what that actually is. Because before, I have a history of trying to do something, but if it's not executed in the way exactly how I intended, like, a 30 to 60 minute sweating workout, I don't want to do it. And so I'll just sleep. And then, to your point, I won't feel good about the kickstart of my day. I'll usually feel more lethargic, honestly. I'm not really focused. And so I've recognized, to your point, the benefit of getting up and doing some type of intentional movement, some type of mind-body connection. That work is really important. So even if it's like a 15-minute, which before would have been like, what the heck is the point? Why are you going to do that? You could have slept for 15 more minutes. I've noticed that that's really helpful. And I actually just joined, not to put a plug in for Peloton, but I just joined that and did the 30-day trial or whatever.
Did you get the bike?
No, just on my carpet in my basement. No, just the workouts. But it's interesting, like, just seeing the calendar and seeing the days where a workout exists. It doesn't say like how much, or I don't know, I've never looked into it, but it doesn't say or pop out like it's only 15 minutes on this day. But having something on each day, being consistent in some way, I think is really helpful and has really helped me stay accountable. So you were talking about other people holding you accountable, and I think like what you were saying for the second part of it is, like, it makes you feel good. Yeah. I've been really investing a lot in that. Like, it makes me feel successful, or like I check something off my list before my day even really started when I get up and do something like that. Again, meditation, just a quick 10, 15-minute movement exercise, or maybe a really good full-on workout. But whatever it might be, being able to check that off as the start of my day is really important and has been really helpful for me lately, especially with accountability.
That is helpful.
So,
having the idea of doing something and then following through also is a good reinforcement. But when you don't, like, you skip a couple days. Like, I know that I went back, but I only went back for 2 days.
Right.
And then I tried to work out at home. And then I decided, well, I'm just going to take a walk, which I do every day because I have a dog. But it wasn't the same, and I started to feel bad. Like, I was feeling like, I didn't, that whole, you failed, you screwed up.
You're just
like,
half-assing the whole thing. And you're not feeling like you're putting it all into it.
Yeah, that was hard.
Did you stay there?
Well, no, because they were
calling you.
Look, they're calling me, so I'm going tomorrow. So we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah.
But and of course they're saying, all right, you've committed to 2 days. Now let's get back to, because we used to go 5-6 days a week, and I don't know. I'm getting back to that, but we'll see.
Never say never.
Right, but probably more than 2 days, and so. that's a pull, which is great. But there's some people don't have that. They don't have that support.
Extra, yeah.
And so how do you motivate yourself, to get to that place, especially if you've started out and then you've kind of fallen off?
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting you said that because somebody, I think it was earlier today or maybe last week, they said, it's okay to be where you are as long as you don't feel stuck there. And it was just like an interesting comment to me because what you just talked about really resonates that, I'll get into this habit of just, it's all right. Tomorrow. Or, it wasn't, and I invest all this energy in the why certain things happen, which I think we all do. We invest energy into rationalizing why things happen to kind of regain that homeostasis that all of our bodies and minds really yearn for. And so I think we all do that. Like, oh, well, I'm just starting, or I'm really sore, or my dog really needs the attention. I don't want to, whatever it might be. But recognizing where you're putting your energy, is that the goal here? Are you holding yourself accountable, or are you making excuses? Right? Which one is it? And I think that's a hard line sometimes of figuring out which one it is. But I think evaluating, well, what's the outcome? Every time that you go for that walk and you talk to yourself in that way, is that what you want?
Well, let me play devil's advocate a little bit, because some people, and I too, sometimes can get stuck in that mindset of, well, I'm making excuses. But then I feel bad that I'm making excuses. And it reinforces, oh, you're being lazy. Oh, what a slacker you are.
Pause. Is this helping? Not saying is it true, because you believe all these things. You believe that I'm slacking. You believe that I'm not doing good enough. You believe all those things. I'm not asking you, is it true? I'm asking, is it helping you?
Well, certainly not.
And I don't mean that in a condescending way, but we need to ask ourselves that question. Is what I'm doing helping?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's true or not. I could tell you all the reasons why I'm super lazy when it comes to, morning workouts, and like you only do 20, 30 minutes now like you used to do. And I could go down that rabbit hole. Yeah. But how many times have I done that and then I just stopped working out? This is the first time I think really in my whole life, to be honest, that I've been kinder to myself with, and I know we're just talking about workouts, but that's with anything. Can we be less rigid with ourselves, less all or nothing with certain things? And then gain consistency. Because at the end of the day, that's what we look for. But if you're going to talk to yourself and tell yourself, oh, well, that's you slacking, or that's you just making excuses, what's the outcome?
Yeah.
And for you, what's the outcome been when you've gone down that rabbit hole? Like, have you stayed with it?
Awful. Feels bad.
It's like when I eat something bad. I'm like, oh, well, you already messed up today, so, start again tomorrow. Like, it's not helping.
Right.
I feel worse.
That's a great thing. Like, if we could get somebody like you to just pop in our head and say, wait a minute.
Hold on.
Is this helpful? Because I think we would all say, no, it's not helpful.
Right.
But what's really important to notice is that at any point, we can do that. And then we can start again.
Of course.
And without the idea that, okay, so I skipped one day. Does that mean all of that's for naught? Does that waste all of that? No, it doesn't. Like, that all counts. It's all valid. It's all accurate. It all happened. And yes, today I went off. I didn't get up on time. I didn't eat well. I didn't exercise. I didn't kickstart my day the way I wanted to. And
what do I want?
Yeah.
Do I still want that? Because that's kind of, that exact scenario that you just played out happened to me on the second week that I started getting up earlier. And it was a Wednesday. I didn't get a good night's sleep. I, talked myself into just, skipping it and maybe doing it later, but not holding myself to it. And I had to have that conversation with myself, because I recognize, like, Rachel, you do this. Whenever there's, something that's not exactly how you planned, you tend to go down these rabbit holes that discourage you from continuing. And I kind of had to have that pep talk with myself of, do you want this to be the same thing? I'm not being negative. I know myself. I know that that's my typical, cycle that I go through. If things aren't the way I planned, I tend to just give up on them. And that's something I don't like. And if I can stop labeling myself as somebody who does that and just invest more of the energy into what do I want, though? I want to continue on this regimen. Yes, I skipped a day. I didn't want that. But I do want to do it. I don't want to skip tomorrow, too. What do I want tomorrow? I want to, get up, or I want to, do something, whatever it might be. I know we keep talking about morning routines, but that can be anything,
Well, yeah, it could be any point, any time, whether it's not just getting up each day, but whether it's going back for a degree, whether it's changing jobs, whether it's
or something small like texting and driving. Like I catch myself doing that lately.
Yeah, good point.
And I kick myself. I'm like, why would you ever do that? Like nothing is that important. And then I'm like, hold on, you're kicking yourself instead of just saying, I'd rather not text and drive. Period. Like it's something as simple as that. I think we have to be mindful. How are you talking to yourself? Are you trying to make change by being mean to yourself? Or are you being encouraging?
Yeah.
Which one's going to get us more results?
I don't know that we often realize how much we can influence what we say to ourselves. Like it's so automatic. We just think there's this dialogue that's going on in our head that we're not really in charge of.
Well, it feels like that sometimes.
It does.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
So what if we were to kind of become the author of those words and start writing that script the way we want to hear it? Mm-hmm.
We'd have to ask that question first, though.
Yeah.
What do you want that script to sound like? Because sometimes I think when I tell people that, like, they sound like, they're like, well, you're just going to talk back to yourself the whole time? You're just going to have this conversation in your head? Like, people are going to think you're crazy.
Is that the way you want to write it?
But that's the question, So whenever an automatic comes up that's not in line with what you want the script to be, well, then you need to re-record it, right? Like, that's how you would in any commercial or show. You would cut.
Any podcast.
Or you would cut, pause, and then redo the script. You would redo that scene.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what we're trying to do here. We're not trying to talk back and forth. You're not talking back to the, director.
I think that's important to replay it. So often I think we stop whatever we're doing, realize we're not doing what we want, and say, tomorrow we're going to do it differently. Why not do it right there? Why not just say, you know what, this is when we need to get back on the horse.
Right.
This is when we got to start this again. And do it if time permits, right? And if the situation allows. But I think too often we postpone it, and that's also what gets us down that rabbit hole and stays there.
Well, because there's no action behind it. It's all, talking in my head, talking it over and over and over again. A concept maybe we need to review in future podcasts, the idea of the 5-second rule. I think, have you heard that before? Have you read that book?
That's a book, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good book. I'd highly recommend it. But maybe it's something we need to further explore, because the concept you're talking about of postponing is kind of a rabbit hole we often get into. And then again, action doesn't happen. And then I just stay stuck in the idea of what could be while kicking myself saying I can't have it. Trying to navigate that a little differently might be something worth exploring.
All right, so next week we got to address that.
That sounds good.
All right, guys.
See you
have a
next
good
week.
week.